It's the Le Mans 24-hour and it is race day. But before that, a 15-minute warm session to shake the cars down and make sure everyone is ready. It's the longest day in motorsports history. Let's see what we get. Hello everyone, welcome to the warm-up session then. We're all in preparation stage to see what's going to happen in the 92nd running of the Le Mans 24-hour race as well. A 15-minute warm-up session. Let's hand it over to our commentators over as well on Radio Le Mans. We've got a slight delay of 3 minutes, but then we'll go.
You wouldn't know.
But on that subject, I haven't seen any cars on anything other than slick tyres.
Cars may now go to the fast lane. Cars are now allowed in the fast lane.
This is all part of the procedure, by the way. If you're listening to this and thinking, hang on, what do you mean they're allowed to the fast lane? Well, they're parked on the concrete apron in front of their pits. You're not just allowed to go and line up until the race director says that you can. And if you do, you'll get a penalty for that. If you're out there too early, you'll get parked for 5 minutes of the 15.
And I have to say, that's a very useful rule to have, because at least it makes it clear. In some other series, it's not at all clear when you're allowed to go to the end of the pit lane. And so it is regarded as being a good thing to get out early.
Yep.
Obviously, it gives you that extra bit of pit time, because it can take you 3 minutes just to get to the end of the queue. If you're at the Toyota end of the pits, the Toyotas, as is their wont, stationed at the very entrance to the pit lane, have a long way to go, and when the fast lane is opened, takes them, even if they go straight out.
1 minute. 1 minute to the start of the warm-up session. Under 1 minute to the start of the warm-up session.
Now, I know Paul said have a long way to go there, but that wasn't in reference to the race, so he's not getting fined for 10 euros.
Track has been declared wet. This is a wet session. Rain lights on and low mode.
If you see anybody with blue sidewalls of the hypercar class, blue is for blue. White is white hot. That's your softest tyres.
30 seconds to the start of the warm-up session. 30 seconds to the start of the warm-up session.
I still find those colours. If it was me, I would go soft is red.
Yeah.
Yellow is medium.
No.
And white is hard. No, that's what I would do.
Oh, I see.
But they do white is hard.
15 seconds to the start of the session.
Yellow and red.
10,
Yes.
9,
White is soft.
8,
That's what I'm
7,
saying.
Yeah.
6,
But
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pit exit is now open.
It's exactly the opposite to what Pirelli do in
This is the start
F1.
of the warm-up session.
So, green flag, the session is underway. The point I was trying to make was that there doesn't seem to be a consensus as to whether soft or medium is the answer. There is a consensus that slicks are the answer. So, however heavy the rain is, the fact that the track has been declared wet merely gives the teams the option to use rain tyres if they want to. They're not allowed to use rain tyres unless somebody says the track has been declared wet. Unless you're going into the grid from the pits at the start of the starting procedure. So the outlap from the grid to the from the outlap from the pit to the grid, you're on 3 tyres.
Which don't have to be part of your allocation either, do they? They can be transport tyres.
And they can be any tyre you want just to get to the start line.
I think I saw an LMP2 with treaded tyres, treaded Goodyear tyres there, but
I don't think
I can't believe they would.
I mean, it was drizzling. It was drizzling, John, but it's not. It wasn't wet, and you can see they're not even leaving traces behind them on the road. So right now it slips.
Camera, the wettest looking corner is Mulsanne. It looked like we had more spitting there than anywhere else.
That is the radio for Scott Dixon, who is out in Cadillac number 3. Let me give you some of the drivers. Alex Lynn's gone out for Cadillac number 2. Scott Dixon for Cadillac number 3. Felipe Nasr for Porsche Penske Motorsport at number 4. Michael Christensen for the 5. Lawrence Vanthoor for the 6. Jose Maria Lopez. Oh no, neither of the Toyota Gazoo racing cars have come out because they've got such a long way to go to the exit. So yeah, I can say that without getting fined as well. Ben Fiscal for Proton is out in the number 9 car. Patrick Paley in the 10. Jean-Carl Vernet in the Isotta Fraschini. Hertz Team Joe to number 12. Oh, it is Will Stevens that's gone out in that. He's got the most experience in that car. He's been there since the beginning, so all right, maybe he checks to make sure that it's all lined up properly. EO by TF, the number 14, Spike, Louis Delatraz, Marco Wittmann for the 15 BMW, Andrea Caldarelli for the Iron Lynx prototype number 63. René Rast in the art car for BMW. We'll have the story of the art car coming up in our lunchtime play out between the end of this and the start of our countdown to green. Ollie Jarvis in the 22 United Autosports, Ben Hanley in the 23, Fabio Scherer in the 24 Nielsen Racing. These are all P2 cars, so they are all Orica 07s. Ollie Caldwell for Algarve Pro Racing in the 25, Harter Racing Aston, Alex Riberas, Job van Uitert in the 28, Edex Sport, James Allen in the Duquesne number 30, WRT have sent out Augusto Farfus. Hope you enjoyed the long one that we recorded with him a couple of weekends ago. Lovely, lovely bloke who I've known for a very long time. I really enjoyed sitting, talking to him. And the following on from that, René Binder for DKI Engineering in the P2, number 33. Then it's into Europol, Vlad Lomko in the 34, Nico Lapierre in the 36 Alpine, Charles Milesi in the 35, Malte Jakobsen in Cool Racing number 37. After that, Ollie Rasmussen for Hertz Team Jota in the Mighty 38, Chris Meese in Proton Competitions, GT3 being the Mustang. That is going to catch me out so many times. I just think of Christian Reid and Proton as Porsche. Of course I do, as you all do. So I apologise in advance. Colin Brown's gone out for the CrowdStrike Racing by EPR, number 45. LMP2, Team WRT have sent the 46 out with Max Martin. He's a bit of a rain specialist, so if it was wet, I think that was a good idea, just in case. Naveen Rao is out in the Cool Racing number 47. The number 14 in 47. Then the two AF Corsa hypercars, Nicholas Nielsen, Antonio Giovinazzi, with Frankie Castellacci in the Vista AF Corsa 54. Ferrari, Alessio Rivera in the 55. United Autosports, Greg Sosi for the 59 United McLaren. Iron Lynx, Frank Pereira with the Lamborghini, the GT3 car. Their 63 hypercar is Edo Mortara. Matthias Beck for Panish Racing, LMP2. Larry Tenvoda, who for once this weekend in the lead up to a 24-hour race doesn't have a Porsche Cup race to go to somewhere. He was flying all over the place the last couple of weekends, backwards and forwards to DTM at test weekend, backwards and forwards to Carrera Cup Italy for the Nürburgring 24 hours, but he is in the 66 GMW Ferrari. Inception have Fred Scharndorf behind the wheel of the number 70 McLaren. Ben Barker for Proton Competition in the 77. Kelvin von der Linde for Acodis ASP, the 78 Lexus. The two TF Sport Astons have got Charlie Eastwood and Daniel Hunkadea, 81 and 82. AF Corsa, Robert Kubica in the semi-works, semi-private AF Corsa, run number 83. The Iron Dames, Michelle Gatling has not, she's been out, but comes straight back in again in the Lamborghini number 85. GR Racing's Daniel Serra is out in that car that had problems early on in the week, but it's been pretty good since then, touching Formica, because I don't have anything wood here for them, don't want to curse them. It is Takeshi Kimura, who is just going back out again in the Lexus number 87. Proton's Dennis Olsen is in, and we've had a whoopsie for Kamui Kobayashi, and it's a significant impact on the front of the number 7. In fact, it's Nick de Vries who took that car out. He has gone straight on and hit something. Looks like he's gone underneath something there, JMO, and he's following in. Oh, he hasn't run up the back of the Lexus, has he? Goodness me.
I think the damage, John, sorry to talk across you a little bit, I think the damage there looks more from a barrier of some sort. I think it's too much of an impact to
he's gone.
Not
we
a barrier.
had a
no, we're about to see it.
No, he has.
Right.
He smashed
absolutely
right into the back of the Toyota Lexus team car in GT3.
God. Talk about the two cars. Talk about the two cars that don't want to hit each other.
So that'll be the 78 of Kelvin van der Linde, who got comprehensively nailed.
And to be fair to him, he was backing up because of traffic in front of him as well. It wasn't like he was going super slowly. I think it was like that concertina effect. It can happen. It can happen. That looks like it's going to be mostly cosmetic, but that's not ideal when you're doing it in the warm-up just before the start of the race. The whole thing about the warm-up is do not, do any damage to the car when you're out there.
Is the team radio?
GT car was spinning on the brakes, and I was doing the Bravo 8, 12, 11, and then obviously I didn't see it. My mistake.
Okay, copy.
So
it's very likely that Toyota GR Racing have anyway got a list of jobs on their list to do between the warm-up and the race. They won't have just been planning to sit around doing nothing. They'll have been preparing the car, possibly making changes to it anyway between warm-up and race, and this will just go and mess up their job schedule.
Well, you called that exactly right, though, John. That was like, he looked like he'd gone under something, and you're absolutely spot on. He went under the rear diffuser of the Lexus.
We've all done
it. Going back to the Will Stevens, and obviously, you would say at this point, those drivers that are going to start the race probably be the drivers that drive the warm-up, and I guess if Will was down to start the race, then the logic would be, especially with a completely rebuilt car, would be to have him drive the warm-up, because at least then when he goes into the race, he knows half what he's got underneath him.
True. Yeah, very true. At RSL_studio, at Radio Le Mans, the hashtag is RLM_24H. That's how you get on the screens in front of Johnny Morland, myself, and Paul Truswell. And we advise you strongly to have a look at our Instagram. We're doing a lot more Instagram this year, so you can get a little bit of the atmosphere if you're here or if you're not here. And our Instagram is Radio Show LTD. Radio Show LTD, and we'll be making a bit more of that this year. If you haven't already seen it, we've got a video of me just showing people around. Who's Seb Braving?
Car 7 has had an incident and they've had to pit. Car 7 has some damage, so please take very little risk.
Well,
can you check the brake temperature is quite high? Is it because of the stop?
So that's interesting. So that's a nose that's gone already, because that one, they won't repair that one, I don't think, over the course of the race. That looked too badly damaged. It wasn't just it crumpled.
The trouble is when they crumple, if you just knock something off, you can patch it, but that one crumpled all the way back. So yeah, you're right. There's a limited number of noses that they will have put on through practice, but they know that they're probably going to need to change a nose at some point in the race, so now they've got one less.
Let's head down for CrowdStrike Pit Report. We'll start with Peter Snowden, who's been watching what's going on at Alpine.
Yeah, indeed. Both cars just completed an installation lap. One went out, the 36 car went out on mediums, and the 35 car went out on softs. Both came in simultaneously, rotated on the skates into the garage, and a lot of front-end suspension work being looked at on both of these cars. The 36 and 35 is now just rejoined, and that's gone on to the medium tyre as well now, so that they've done a tyre change, the other car hasn't. But a great deal of detailed inspection on the front suspension of both of those cars, Alpines, on that after one installation lap.
And I might side the number 12, the Hertz team, Jota, and Sam Hignett, the co-founder of the team, joins me now. First of all, Sam, huge congratulations to the team for the sterling work that they did rebuilding that car. How proud are you of them?
Immensely proud. You know, I think, as we've said in the press, that the fastest we've ever built one of these is 3 weeks in Weissach. So to have turned it round in 48 hours is an incredible achievement. I'm so proud of them all.
Will's out there at the moment. I guess he's staying out for this whole warm-up session. What's the feedback so far? Anything?
Yeah, all okay at the moment. I mean, we've built a brand new car, so there are always going to be a few gremlins, but we just debugged the system. Good for the race.
Now, you got the chassis from Penske. Did you do anything about it where it's raced before at all?
Yeah, we know a little bit about it. It's done a bit of work, but it's a good chassis from what we understand, so hopefully it'll do us proud.
Thanks very much, Sam.
No worries, thank you.
We think, we don't know, but we think it was an IMSA chassis. We'll try and get to the bottom of that and find out the chassis number and see what it's done in the past.
I heard it was a show car chassis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, maybe Diana can go back and ask Sam.
the UK Shore car isn't a chassis. It is just a hard plastic shell that they're moulded from a car. And it's very clever, actually, because it's got little hydraulic rams that you pump it up and it just drops casters under.
Well,
let's
hope it's not that one.
Well, it will be underweight, I'll tell you that now, and somewhat underpowered, because 2 guys have to push that one around. No, absolutely. Cracking job by Hertz Team Jota, as you heard there. That is incredible. That was a virtually bare monocoque that they had to just pull some wiring out of and then build from scratch.
And he is super proud of his guys, and rightfully so, but let's not forget the knock-on of that. It means that every single one of his guys, because they would have got both cars involved in that, pretty much the entire Jota crew, probably on both sides of the garage, are going to be absolutely running on adrenaline before we've even started the race, John.
So just hearing from Diana, it has indeed raced in the States. It wasn't a show car. We'll get more details on that in a moment. In fact, let's go back down to Peter, who can give us a little more on this CrowdStrike pit lane report.
Yeah, I'm down with the Lexus garage at the very beginning of the pit lane with the 78 car that was obviously hit up the back. There's quite a bit of damage already, as you'd imagine. It was quite an impact, as I think you mentioned, both of you, Johns. And it's I've just been ushered out of the garage. I said it's a working area, quite right. They've got a job to get on with, but not really what you want in a 15-minute warm-up, is it? But the rear bit's quite badly bent, as in the bodywork, not just the steel. The original floor of the car is quite severely creased, so they're working way onto it at the moment.
And Peter, only a couple of garages away from the car that caused that damage, Nick De Vries in the Toyota Gazoo Racing, that was nose damage on that car, of course. How's that progressing? They were having a good look round the front of that. Peter obviously on his way to that at the moment. So down to the last 50 seconds already. We haven't even talked about times. I mean, I'm not sure, Paul, that what times tell us here, if anything. We don't even really get up to race pace, to be honest.
I think we are. We've got, setting up for everybody, you're right. The fastest car on the circuit is the number 83 AF Corsa Ferrari 499P. Robert Kubica having done a 329.260. He's the only driver to be sub 3 minutes 30. Having said that, the Ferrari from the Works Ferrari team, Antonio Giovinazzi in number 51.
Box.
That was box to Will Stevens, and while we were listening to that a moment or two ago, side by side contact, Cool Racing and the gold fronted Cadillac, which is Seb Bourdais in the number 3. Sorry, Paul, go ahead. That was a bit unnecessary in warm-up, JMO.
Totally unnecessary. I mean, I don't understand the whole thing of the first thing they tell you as a driver if you go in the warm-up, just take it easy, don't push. I mean, Will Stevens, though, 3rd overall, 3 minute 32.3. The car must be feeling reasonably good underneath him for him to be able to go out and do that straight away on a slightly greasy track. So, fingers crossed for them.
If I may just evoke the words of one who is not here this year, and that is the marvellous Hugh Chamberlain. Nothing good ever happens in warm-up. There was plenty of other things he said that I can't mention here.
But to be fair, I think the nature of warm-up has changed enormously.
Totally agree.
And as Johnny and I were saying before the session started, nobody has taken the late breakfast option. Everybody has gone out and done at least a lap in this warm-up session, or is in the process of doing a lap. Some of them have just been in and out laps. Some people have chosen to do a driver change, so they've actually cycled through 2 at least of their drivers. But no, time's not really meaningful. Remember, the pole position time is a 3:24, so the Robert Kubica time of a 3:29 is not that far off pole. And certainly referring to Will Stevens as top Porsche in the number 12, Jota Porsche, a 3:32.3, as Johnny says, from that car. And
that'll be full tanks as well, Paul.
It will have been on full tanks, yes.
100%.
Because they'll have wanted to make sure that was all working.
They won't. They will fill her up, make sure there's no leaks or anything.
Yeah, that would have been absolutely groaning with fuel as it went down. Pro-Am headed by AF Corsa in the 183. They've had their issues this week, but that's a good time from Ben Barnicat with Matthias Besch for the 65 Panish Racing in second and Edek in third. In GT3 GR Racing, they had the problems early in the weekend as well.
Did no laps at all during the qualifying session, and therefore weren't even in a position to take part in Hyperpole. Came into the night practice session FP4 on Thursday night with none of their drivers qualifying, and then had to face a 1 hour night practice session on Thursday evening. Managed to get all 3 of their drivers qualified within the 1 hour session, and obviously the car running well now and hopefully over those electrical gremlins.
Peter Snowden has sauntered to Toyota Gazoo Racing and is looking, or at least was having a look at the front of the number 7 Nick de Vries car, which nailed the back of the Toyota-Lexus. And the story is what, Peter?
Well, to be honest, John, if you didn't know this had been involved in an incident, it looks absolutely fine. I guess there's always going to be a lot more to this. The windscreen's out because they're using access to get into the footwell to work below, behind the absolute front bulkhead of that monocoque, sorry. There doesn't seem to be an awful lot of damage at the moment. I'm sure if I went into the Toyota garage, I'd have a very different story, but I think I wouldn't be too welcome at the moment. But it looks unmarked. You really would not know.
There we go with the checkered flag out. That's a CrowdStrike pit lane report. So that's the headline, I suppose. 2 of them. The 12 Hertz team, Hertz Toyota team, out and running competitively, albeit down into 5th position now as Alpine and Porsche Penske Motorsport, Lawrence Vanto go ahead of it. Robert Kubica tops the times, the hyper-competitive Polish driver and his Orlen sponsor for this. And that's just about it, but the big news was a GR on GR, Toyota Gazoo Racing on Toyota Gazoo Racing incident coming out of the Porsche cars when Nick de Vries was caught out by a slowing Lexus and both cars damaged. Seemingly the Toyota, the hypercar, somewhat more superficially. That was nose damage. The Lexus still having a look at the under tray, and you've got to wonder if that's done more damage than it might have. There's a transaxle under there as well, of course. That's your warm-up. Stay tuned, please, as we go through to our countdown to green with Paul reading the grid. That's all still to come. Coming up next, more special programming from here at Le Mans 2024.
This program is a Radio Show Limited production.
Tell your friends there's more at radiolemans.com.
Ever since its inception over 100 years ago, the Le Mans 24 Hours has always been a proving ground for new technology. In 1923, it was this weird and wonderful thing called the automobile that people didn't really know anything about. And the manufacturers, even in those early days, used Le Mans participation and subsequent success to sell their cars on reliability and speed. As we move into the second century of the Grand Prix d'Endurance, the ACO have pledged to stay ahead of the game, and one of the things they're looking at very closely is hydrogen. And here at Le Mans for 2024, not only are they talking about it, but in point of fact, they've asked people to put their money where their mouths are, or at least their cars where the track is, and bring out some hydrogen development prototype cars for a run round the circuit here on Saturday. I've got Andrew Cotton, the editor of Race Car Engineering, with me to talk a little bit about this and the technologies involved, because there are a number of different technologies as far as hydrogen propulsion is concerned. First of all, Andrew, the ACO have been down through the years quite forward thinking with Garage 56 and such like, but hydrogen is something that's really caught the imagination of the ACO in recent years, and they're putting quite a lot of effort and resource behind it, potentially even with the new pits having hydrogen storage facilities.
Absolutely. They have always looked forward and, put themselves as a bastion of future technology, and so this is now the next stage. Everyone's looking for the solution. They've tried electric, and so we had the Delta Wing coming, Nissan came, and they came with the new technologies, but electric was never going to work over 24 hours. They couldn't work out how to recharge or to get the car to do more than a lap. I think eventually they managed to do a lap under electric power alone. But it was a bit too difficult, and so they've looked at alternative solutions. And about 10 years ago, Pierre Fillon went to a symposium where a lot of the future technologies in terms of transport were being discussed, and he realized that hydrogen was going to be one of the major solutions for our transport needs in the future. And so he committed very early on to change Le Mans and to look at how that was going to work. And so he commissioned Bernard Niclot to go along and investigate what was possible. And at the time, fuel cell technology was the only one that was available. It's a technology that was developed in NASA, and so then they were looking at how they could apply that to cars, and specifically here, race cars, with a view to zero-emission technology. So they started on that route, and then there were delays from COVID and other issues, technological issues. And so then people started to come with other solutions, and so we started to look at hydrogen in an internal combustion engine. And so they had to change their minds a little bit and start to investigate that as well. And so now the two development programs are running alongside each other to try and figure out which one or both that they can bring.
We have seen a hydrogen-powered car competing in the Road to Le Mans, and that's a few years ago now. The successor to that car is here this weekend and will be part of the demonstration, along with a couple or three other manufacturers who are effectively using all of this right now as a rolling test bed, and a laboratory that looks like a race car, I think is what Alpine talked about with that Alpenglow. Before we delve into that, let's talk about those two different ways of using hydrogen. We'll come to fuel cell in a moment, because although that one has been around for quite a long time, a number of people have tried running internal combustion engines on hydrogen, including Aston Martin, who did a lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife with a Rapide, an Aston Martin Rapide, completely on hydrogen, therefore zero emissions, without any other modification.
Well, I want to thank Radio Le Mans as well for covering the warm session as well. A wet session and a wet start. It looks like it's going to be here for this weekend's race as well. Just want to get some coverage details across from you. We will be on air at 2:30 British Summer Time. That's 3:30 Central European Time for the race build-up. All of the racing will be live here on JBMotorsports. We've got our own commentary team coming back in for that one as well. We've got all the track map data, all the timing screens as well. We'll have track noise as well, radio coverage. We've got basically radio coverage with all the data that you need to be alongside us as well in the 24 hours. So that is getting underway. All streams are now on YouTube. If you're watching us on Twitch, just set the notification bell on. Thank you very much for joining us for this one. We'll be back for the Le Mans 24 hour in about 2 hours' time. See you soon. Bye-bye.